All right, back live tonight here on In Focus. The Congress of South African Trade Unions in the North West says it is shocked at the removal of the Deputy Speaker of the provincial legislature, Tshepo Khoza. Khoza, who is accused of presenting fake qualifications, was appointed to his position after the May 29 election. Cosatu North West Secretary Kopano Konopi joins us now for more on that. Mr. Konopi, good to have you, and thank you very much for your time. Have your alliance partners explained to you the situation and the position of the Deputy Speaker?
What we got from the ANC in particular is that they have been informed that the Deputy Speaker has presented a fake matric qualification, and they have tried to interact with him to get the reality of it, and there's not much of the cooperation, and ultimately they have decided to brief the alliance partner where he comes from, which is Sanko, that they can no longer keep him as a Deputy Speaker because he will put the organization into disrepute, and which is the move that we think that we would welcome. The point that we would want to make it is that there's nothing in law that says people must have qualification, but the ANC has put it and found it necessary that people who must be given the responsibility to develop the nation must also have shown passion to develop themselves, and therefore it requires that people must possess some certain level of development before they get deployment. But what we are surprised is that we got to see this kind of a situation where we find a deployee having to present something that is authentic, that is fraudulent, that is fake, and we feel that it is something that is misrepresenting the organization itself and can jeopardize the integrity of the organization and its standing in the society. That is why we have welcomed that decision by the ANC to him to step aside in that position. But what we are not happy is for the ANC to keep him as an MPL. We don't believe that if a person is wronged while he's occupying a position in a presiding officer, it must also be kept to become a lawmaker or become a leader of society and a deployee. We believe that the same gravity in the mistake that he has committed must apply in all areas of the deployment where he is in.
Let's talk about that deployment a little bit. I mean, usually before the ANC alliance consolidate candidate lists, I'm sure these are taken through the alliance partners and so on and so forth. There is a vetting process of how these lists are generally compiled. This particular matter did not emerge in the ANC until allegations surfaced on social media. That says something about the rigor and the robustness of the system.
We are told that due to the volume of documents that had to go through the vetting process, some of the documents could leak through, but they have now been doing the re-verification of all the documents, and they are starting to pick up some of the things that have been erroneous or some of the irregularities, and this is one of the irregularities that they have picked up. We know that the process of vetting was supposed to be done before the list is finalized, but because of the volume of the documents that we're going, because there was a central vetting point for the whole country for the ANC, and the documents were so voluminous and it got delayed. But as and when they go and do re-verification, they are able to pick them up and come back and be able to identify those who went in through the system erroneously.
And now you've also mentioned the question of the criterion itself, the minimum requirement for legislature candidates. As Cosatu, do you welcome that as a standard that at least should be fulfilled by all those who wish to occupy such positions?
Well, it has got its own shortcomings, but like I said, that it should at least be shown that a person who's given the responsibility to develop the nation as a whole must have some certain level of understanding on how society operates and must have shown a passion for self-development so that he can understand how this is. You should understand that when you go into government, there are a lot of technical things that are happening in government, and it cannot only be left to the bureaucracy. The people who are given political responsibility must also understand that bureaucracy and the technical things so that they can be able to provide political guidance with sufficient technical understanding on the area where they are going. So we cannot disown it completely, because in one area or the other, it might exclude people who are popular. But at the same time, we say Popularity alone is not sufficient. A certain level of development must be there so that you should be able to lead the nation holistically with consciousness and with certain capacity of development, showing that you are able to understand what is happening.
Let's talk about the alliance politics then. It seems Sanko believes that this is a deliberate action by some who seek to tarnish the image of the chairperson and that of Sanko as an organization. Is there such tension that are existing within the alliance formation in the province?
We have not been briefed on that area that says there's some sort of a malicious intention. But if there are such malicious intentions, I think once they are proven, they should be brought into the fore so that we can be able to discuss that. What we have here is that there's some questionable document that is presented in the file, and it is proven that it has been presented by himself to the legislature, including to the agency. So we would say that if there's some malicious intention, let that be investigated. And if it falls to be something that can be proven, let's have a discussion on it and take it further. But I would say that if we are all people who love integrity and who would want to commit to the rebuilding and the revival of the agency, we should desist from such practices.
You are, of course, saying in your own statement that you have seen a surge in such criminal activity that includes the faking of documents. Why would that be the case? But two, do you think these are individuals who seek to undermine the renewal process of the organization?
You would understand that it is something that in the past you could say that is one or two incident that you are picking, but it shows that it gains some momentum. That is why we are saying it should be nipped at the point where it is now, and it should be that all the people who are required to submit documentation in the form of qualification, proper verification and proper vetting must be done so that we don't find ourselves having to answer these questions instead of having to answer to the people of the province or the people of the country on why are we able to deliver in terms of what we have promised during the elections. We know that there was a recent case of a doctor in the Northwest who had a fake qualification, and there are many others that I would not bring them now in here, that you can pick them sporadically. But we are saying almost every year you pick up a case of a high-profile person who would have a failed qualification.
Is there a clear path now between yourself and the alliance partners on who is going to replace the Deputy Speaker?
We have not started that discussion yet. We will await the political council to be convened by the leader of the alliance so that we can have the discussion on who will become the Deputy Speaker of the province and what would be the way forward moving from now.
Mr. Konopi, I appreciate your time. Let's leave it there for tonight. Kopano Konopi, there, Provincial Secretary for Cosatu in the Northwest.